This is my trusty Fujifilm X-H1. It is the camera that helped me capture some of my favorite street photographs. It also had the biggest influence on my YouTube channel. When it comes to my video workflow, I also shot some commercial jobs with it. And now, after 5 years of intense use, it has become totally useless since the X-H2 and X-H2S came out. Right? Well, we will see. Today's sponsor is MPB. This intro is way too long now, but I don't care. It's more fun if I do it my way. Oh yeah. This camera is still hot and amazing. I won't upgrade it. That is how much I love it. Now let me tell you, you should probably do the same and use what you have. Make films, take photos. Work on your craft, you idiots. Okay, we are here outside and I want to talk a little bit about the X-H1, but this is not going to be a review. There are so many videos already out on YouTube. You can also search for my video. It's called Time to Say Goodbye because I replaced my X100F with this camera, and I will link it somewhere here. But I want to challenge your perspective a little bit, because whenever something new comes out, we like to compare our equipment to the next model, right? We never look back and compare it to past models, because you know, this camera used to be a camera that I dreamed of owning, and I thought it's way too expensive, I will never own it. And now I do, but I'm still looking at the X-H2 or X-H2S, you know. So I'm also a victim of this gear chasing and gear acquisition syndrome. The question you should also ask yourself is, are you better than your camera? Did you make full use of the capabilities of your camera? And for most of us, the answer is no, because there's always more that you can do. And at the end, it all comes down to our skill level. And if we are good storytellers, for example, you can shoot videos on an iPhone, you can start a YouTube channel on an iPhone or a GoPro. And I know some channels that are bigger than mine and they just use a GoPro. So it all comes down to what kind of stories you're telling and bringing your ideas or your vision to life. And cameras are just tools to help you. And yeah, of course, the X-H2 and X-H2S, they have better autofocus. Maybe that's very helpful for vlogging. But you know what? My X-H1, I have to admit, it sucks for video autofocusing, especially with backlighting. And you can't see yourself, the screen just tilts up. So how do you even vlog yourself, right? But that was never a problem for myself, because not seeing myself means that I look into the camera. I'm not distracted by the flip out screen, you know. So I'm looking at the viewer directly, which is better anyways. And for vlogging, I even use a 12mm Samyang manual focusing lens, where I measured the correct distance for filming myself. And then I mark the lens so that I can set my focus before shooting, and then I can vlog with a manual focusing lens, and it works. So there are always workarounds, and as I said, it all comes down to the story and the content. So this section will be focusing on the filmmaking aspect, and I'm also going to talk about the Fuji X-H1 as a street photography camera at the end of this video. And I thought about showing you the capabilities of the X-H1 and you know, film a little montage and a sexy B-roll of the city. But I filmed so many projects already. I think I'm just going to show you some highlights, and then we are going to discuss my workflow when it comes to filming on the X-H1. So enjoy.
Stay hydrated.
Even in winter.
Even in winter, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we have two internal changes in this new special edition. The first one is a cosmetic one.
He's gone! Please come back, Manuel, please!
Such a faker.
This looks like like a shooter game.
Isn't that only 8-bit? You know, Peter McKinnon shoots in 10-bit.
Okay, I think I'm safe here. That was probably a Sony bro. But yeah, let's talk about 8-bit versus 10-bit, because everyone is telling you you have to shoot 10-bit. 10-bit is much better than 8-bit. And that is true to a certain degree, because 10-bit is important if you want to color grade your footage a lot and you really want to push your camera and create looks out of your footage. And that can be fun. In the beginning I was doing the same, trying to find my look or use LUTs that I bought online. But I much prefer getting the look in camera first as much as I can. I don't know, I have fun color grading my footage, but I don't want to spend too much time doing that. And I'm pretty happy with Fujifilm's Eterna film simulation. That gives me 90% of what I really like, or how I would grade my footage. And then with Fujifilm, you can also boost the dynamic range, which I haven't seen on other cameras before. And then the camera basically shoots in different ISO sensitivities at the same time. And yeah, the footage does look almost like log footage. And then when I'm editing my clips, I just change the saturation or contrast. And I only need to do a little bit of editing. And so far, I think you saw the footage and the samples. I think it looks great. And you know, I got a lot of compliments under my videos. I will show you some comments here that I got in the past. And whenever I really need a 10-bit video, I can just rent or buy an external recorder and shoot 10-bit that way, because the X-H1 can output 10-bit 420, not 422. But at least it's 10-bit. And that would actually be a better upgrade for me rather than buying an X-H2. If I buy an external recorder like the Atomos Ninja 5 or something like that, I can upgrade my image quality for $500 or something like that. And I don't need to pay 2,000 just to get the benefit of 10-bit. And you know, before I started my YouTube channel, I was shooting videos for clients, for advertising agencies or brands. And at that time, I was using a Canon cinema camera, the Canon C100 Mark II. And that is an 8-bit camera. And it doesn't even shoot 4K. I was just shooting full HD. And yeah, no one complained, even though I shot on a log format as well and did some color processing, and the footage looks great. And every video that ends up on the internet is going to become an 8-bit video anyways. So 10-bit is really only useful if you want to do a lot of post-processing. And for me, for filming YouTube videos, it's not necessary. And the files are smaller. Oh, I didn't mention 8-bit on a Fujifilm camera is also different from 8-bit from a Sony, for example. Because I think Sony uses a lower data rate. And on Fujifilm or on the X-H1, for example, I can shoot 200 megabits per second, which is pretty high. With Sony and 8-bit, I think you have to do a little bit more work. And that means you have to push the footage harder. So for me, it just works using Fujifilm and get the look in camera and be happy with that. And 2 years ago, I added this cute little camera to my video kit. This is the Fujifilm X-H1, which does not replace my X-H1, but it completes it. Because this is basically a mini X-H1, and as you can see, they even look kinda the same. It's just a little bit smaller, different button layout, but same video quality, IBIS. And I got this one here because of the flip out screen, which helps when I vlog myself. So this is why this is my on-the-go travel vlogging setup, and this is my home studio video setup. Speaking of home studio setups, this is how I like to use my X-H1 nowadays. It basically lives on my table, and I use it primarily for live streaming or when I do my one-on-one coaching sessions on Zoom, and I really like the X-H1 for this purpose. It is an excellent live stream camera, especially when you use the battery grip, because then you don't even need to use batteries, because you can directly get electricity from your power outlet, so you can do very long sessions and the camera never overheats. The problem with a lot of these small mirrorless cameras is most of them can be used as a webcam, but because they're so small and not really made for long video sessions, they tend to overheat very fast. This is a setup that I can run for a long time and know it will just work. And if I want to show something in front of the camera, like this lens here, then the camera does usually focus very quickly, and it works. It's not perfect, it's not super smooth, but you know, it gets the job done. So I'm very happy with this setup. So there's no need for me to upgrade it. Now, if you're looking to invest in a similar setup or exactly the same setup, I know just the place to go to, which is MPB, the sponsor of this video. Now, I'm a big fan of buying second-hand camera gear. I think most of my lenses and cameras that I own were bought second-hand. And MPB has always been my personal first choice when it comes to buying and selling camera gear. They make it so easy to find the equipment you're looking for, which can also be dangerous sometimes because you end up wanting to buy more than you might need. But the good thing is that MPB has a very good return policy, and because they check and clean all the equipment that they list on their website, you can be sure that whatever you buy from them will last you a long time. And even if it doesn't, every purchase comes with warranty.
Fujifilm X-H1, 6K open gate, 10-bit 422, larger battery. Oh sh**.
And whenever you do want to buy the latest and greatest camera gear, then MPB is a great place to sell your current camera gear. You can just search for the gear you want to sell, select the condition and get a quote right away to either get paid the amount or use it for your next purchase. What? No, this is for demonstration purposes, obviously. Not going to sell my X-H1. There will be a link in the video description. I don't get any kickbacks from you using that link, but MPB will know that I sent you, and they will be happy, and then I will be happy. Alright, thanks MPB for sponsoring this video, and let's continue. Alright, let's talk about the X-H1 as a street photography camera. Because this is the reason why I got the X-H1 in the first place, to have a very capable street photography camera, and then I started to use it more and more for video and less for photography. But I still use it sometimes because of its weather sealing, and especially if you pair it with a prime that is also weather sealed, like the 23 f2 here, or the 27 2.8 VR version, which is also very fun. I used to own that lens, and it saved my arse, it saved my behind when I was at the Universal Studios in Japan, in Osaka, because it was raining like crazy, and I knew that beforehand, so that's why I brought this camera. And it was great for that. So I still like to have it because it's the camera that I can take out with me at any weather condition. I can really trust it to function even under heavy rain. I wouldn't bring it into the under the shower, but I came very close to that outside. So what else can I say? In terms of ergonomics, it's the most comfortable Fujifilm camera that I held in my hands. It has the manual dials that everyone loves. I think it still is the best looking Fujifilm camera. I really like how the buttons feel, and it has a great viewfinder, high refresh rate. I don't know if it's 120 Hertz or 90. I think it's 120, I don't know, but 3-point-something million dots, which is similar to or the same as the Leica Q2, or recently Nikon released the Nikon Z8, which is a flagship camera in 2023, and it has the same resolution viewfinder. Some people were upset about that, me included. I was hoping for a little more, but it's still good enough. So the viewfinder is great. Then you have a flip-up screen, which obviously is very useful for waist level shooting. It can also tilt up sideways or like this, if you prefer to shoot in portrait orientation. And it's just a very responsive camera. It's so fast, the autofocus, single AF is great. Continuous AF, not so much. But to be honest, I'm used to doing, you know, focus and recompose. That's what I'm used to anyways. And for that, it's very fast. We have the switch here, manual, continuous, single, so it's easy to switch between modes. Manual focusing works great. And then image quality, good enough. I did an exhibition in 2019 and together with two of my friends, and 90% of my photos were taken with the X-H1. And we printed them on 20 by 30 centimeter and also 30 by 45. And this camera is a little noisy at high ISO values, but noise on a computer screen looks way worse than on paper. When you print photos taken on high ISO values, then they look much better printed. So yeah, there's no excuse. Image quality, good enough, even in 2023. If I could change one thing on the body, I would probably push the viewfinder more into the body because it sticks out a little bit and sometimes it blocks the screen. And if you wear the X-H1 using a strap like this, then you can feel the viewfinder hitting your body sometimes. Not so much when you have it around your neck, but if you do this, which I often like to do, then it can hurt you a little. But you don't even need a strap, it's so comfortable. And yeah, I never dropped this camera. IBIS, I didn't even talk about IBIS. The IBIS is so useful. I can show some photos here where IBIS was very helping a lot. So it has everything you need, really. And it's cheap. Probably the best value camera for street photography if I would have to buy one today and I had no camera. I'll probably get this one because I know I will get the shot. So I guess this is enough of an endorsement. Buy it on MPB.
Okay, let's end this video here. We praised this camera long enough. In all fairness, I should mention some downsides and bugs, some major annoyances that I had and still have with the X-H1. For example, battery life is very, very bad. Sometimes the camera would freeze or lock up and then you have to eject the battery, put it back in. Super annoying. And sometimes I would just stop recording, mid-recording, which is very annoying. Now, luckily the files are always saved on the SD card, but not something that I would want to have on a commercial shoot, for example. Now, it could be just my battery grip, because it keeps happening when I use the Fujifilm X-H1 battery grip. And when you use an external recorder, then you won't have that problem. But just so that you know, the camera's a little buggy. But for me personally, the positives outweigh the negatives. So I'm going to keep using my X-H1, not going to upgrade it. Now, will I get the XS20? most likely, but it's not going to replace the X-H1. It's probably going to replace my XS10. So yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for watching another episode of Gear Doesn't Matter, but we still talk about it. Now obviously gear does matter. If you know what you're doing, then gear does matter a lot. And let me know in the comment section, what is the piece of equipment that you will never upgrade or get rid of? That would be fun to know. And keep using what you already have, because you probably haven't reached your potential yet, or your camera's potential, or your lens potential, or your microphone's potential, or I don't know. See you next time. Now let me tell you, you should probably do the same and use what you have. What you have. You should probably do the same and this. Nein. We have some help here. So Mika here is my intern. Did you learn anything from me? Anything valuable?
A lot, I would say. Yeah, actually.
He has to say that. Parenting pro tip: get a rope, and then let's go.